All right, say something.
Testing.
Oh, jeez, it's not working. Why is this?
Really?
Yeah, it's not working.
Huh.
I do not understand this. I keep saying something.
Hello. Happy Thanksgiving. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Oh, for crying out loud, why is this not working? It's very weird.
Talk.
Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah.
There we go. I've got something here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'm talking.
Yeah, it seems to be all right. Yeah, where's Twyla?
Yeah.
I think we're good now.
Okay. Cool.
This Windows updates and it changes all of my audio settings, and that's what happens. I'm really tempted to completely disable Windows updates because it and you don't know what's happening. Okay, say something again.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's working. Okay, and now we got it. I got an audio out. It should be working now. But where's Twyla though?
Yeah, that's true. Let's see if I can bring her in here. People just call. And hopefully that'll work.
All right, let me bring back up the Google. Oh, great! I'm gonna have to reload all the pages. It's gonna be fun sticking this together. But we're back. So go to the page, and so those feeds should all be working. Yes, they are. There's both broadcast. Yeah, we're good. Okay. We've covered what? Popes dropping the polls, saying the devil made them do it. What else? Don't judge past crimes, but using a modern standard, which is exactly the same standard we have today. No, pray for the church. That's part of the devil thing. There was something else I wanted to talk about. Come on. Oh, the deaf. We were talking about the deaf orphans in Francis's backyard. We didn't finish that. And it was the abuse for this person who's being called Giuseppe lasted for 7 years until he turned 18 and left the institution.
Yeah.
And whenever he tried to explain what was happening to him inside the school, no one understood because the language he had been taught to describe the sexual acts was incomprehensible to sign language readers. It was so frustrating. He said that it was so frustrating that no one understood what we said. It took a long time for us to be believed. Giuseppe is just one of 67 young boys who have been named in court documents and were allegedly abused by more than 24 priests and brothers at the Provolo Institute, according to Verona prosecutors who have been investigating the allegations for nearly a decade and who plan to bring it to trial later this year. One of the most notorious alleged offenders was one Father Nicola Corradi, who is now 83, and he was moved to South America in the mid-1980s after Giuseppe and others' abuse claims came to light. Rather than handing him over to secular authorities, this is a big problem I have, or asking the Mother Church in Rome to defrock him, and you're making a lot of noise.
Twyla's back.
The bishop transferred him to the Provolo Institute in Mendoza, Argentina. Several other priests accused of abuse in Verona were transferred to the sister school in Argentina, but have since passed away. In other words, they got away with it. And in Argentina, court documents there would later allege that Carati was soon up to his usual practices, and despite credible reports from Italy that were beginning to surface, he was allowed to stay in his job at the school for the deaf, where he apparently found like-minded abusers. He was finally arrested in 2016 on allegations that he abused 22 deaf and mute children over the course of nearly 3 decades, and 3 other priests were arrested with him. How this actually relates to the Pope is, I'm trying to find this now. Earlier this month, the Associated Press uncovered a secret 2,000-page forensic study commissioned by Bergoglio, that's the old name of Pope Francis, in 2010 to study whether Grassi, a priest who worked at the Provolone Institute and founded a home for the deaf, alleged to have been abused, and who already had been convicted in secular courts and sentenced to 15 years in prison. Holy shit. There's a bit in here about Pope Francis, and I'm trying to remember what the relationship. The abuse went on for 3 years before her parents. This is another victim. Here we go. Giulietta Agnasco was one of those victims at the Provolone Institute, and she says she was first abused by Father Ricardo Jimenez, who worked at the Institute. He first attacked her when she was just 7 years old, she says, when the two were in a tent being used as a confessional at a church youth festival. The abuse went on for 3 years before her parents found out and filed a complaint. Jimenez was then transferred by the Archdiocese of Buenos Aires under the direction of then Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio, now Pope Francis. So he knew this was going on, and instead of doing something, just transferred a pedophile priest. So this is, sounds to me like pretty straight up. There's a lot of noise. What are you guys doing? You guys wrestling?
I'm not doing anything. I was actually muted.
It's pretty loud.
Until a moment ago.
Let me check a few settings.
Yeah, so he's known about this. This is not something that, has... It's awful. And anybody on that, I think I want to talk a little bit about Australia.
Well, when I read that about, the sign language, oh my God, it was just, my blood ran cold. That is so fucked up.
Yeah.
That's sick. Wow. I wonder if this is international sign language within the Catholic Church, or if it was just specific to that institution, or what. Sickening.
Yeah. I'm gonna add why this is doing this. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Let's go over here. You don't have your camera on, do you?
No, I don't.
Why?
I do.
Yeah, she does.
Does she? Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, this has really screwed everything up. Okay, I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna kill that. Remove. No, I'm not gonna remove it. I'm gonna add a source. I don't know which is Skype. Where's the NDI? There we go. What have we got? Well, that is so weird. Yeah, I don't have... Oh. This is really messed up. I'm wondering... Oh, I think I know what's going on here. Okay. Just a second. I just have to go to the settings. This is something else that Windows does. It resets something in Skype.
Yeah.
It resets this and allow NDI usage, and I have to kill the. Sorry, I gotta turn you off for a second to allow it. I'll call you in just a moment here. Get out of here, dumbest. Oh, Windows can be such a pain in the neck, and they have to actually get out of the conversation. Okay, let's go here. Calling advanced. Allow NDI usage. I don't know why it makes me do that. All right, we're back. Yes. What a pain. Oh, now I can't hear you. Well, what the hell?
Okay.
Oh, there we go. There you were. Okay, you're muted.
I muted myself this time.
This isn't supposed to happen. It's very annoying. Okay. So let's go back to the www page. There we go. Okay. Restore pages. Yes, of course I want to restore the pages. And after all this, and I don't mean the problems we just had, after all this with the Pope, Tasmania may criminalize priests for upholding seal of confession. Oh, the horrors. You know, your doctors, if they suspect abuse, are required to report to police. Why the hell shouldn't priests?
Because prayer works, too, according to that.
That's not freedom of religion, folks. Oh, man. That's just... So, the Archbishop of Hobart, I guess it's in Tasmania, has condemned the move. Yeah, he would, wouldn't he? Catholic priests in the Australian state of Tasmania could face jail time if they fail to report sexual abuse disclosed during the sacrament of confession. Good, yeah. If you know about abuse, and you don't report it, and you just say, oh, well, it was in confession, you know, that's not an excuse. Draft legislation put forth by the government of the island would make mandatory reporting of child sexual abuse a criminal matter for religious leaders. Many public sector workers already face fines if they fail to report suspected abuse, just like fines. I would assume jail time. But yeah, just like I said, doctors, you know, there is no doctor patient privilege here because it's an ongoing crime.
Yeah. How come I can't see you, Randy?
I don't know.
I can't either.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to muck you with it for now.
Okay.
If you can't see me, that would be, I wonder if it is, I'll just do this real quick. Settings, audio video. Oh, it's the new tech. No, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it at the moment, unless I completely restart everything, and I don't want to do that. So the Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sex Abuse released a report in December 2017 that included 409 recommendations aimed at curbing child sex abuse in the country. There's just 409 more than the Catholic Church has. The Royal Commission recommended to all Australian states that their laws governing child abuse reporting should not exempt persons in religious ministry from being required to report knowledge or suspicions formed in whole or in part on the basis of information disclosed in or in connection with a religious confession. Good. But they're going to play the victim card and say, oh, it's freedom of religion. No, this is not freedom of religion. If you know about a crime, you know about a crime. I don't care under what circumstances it is. If it's wrong outside of religion, adding religion to it adds absolutely nothing. It doesn't change a thing. Archbishop Julian Porteous of Hobart, the Tasmanian capital, argued that perpetrators of sexual abuse very rarely seek out confession, and if mandatory reporting of confessions were required, they would almost certainly not confess. Okay? What's your point?
So getting away with it either way makes it right?
Yeah, again, one of the 10 Commandments is clearly hypocrisy.
Yeah, the next right after the thou shalt abuse children.
Yeah, apparently, it's in the Bible.
Yeah, the Code of Canon Law states that, quote, the sacramental seal is inviolable. Therefore, it is absolutely forbidden for a confessor to betray in any way a penitent in words or in any manner and for any reason. Who cares about
what a
canon
nice
law?
get-out-of-jail-free card for religion.
Yeah, no kidding.
Why do they think that canon law has any relevance in any country in the world?
Yeah.
So is Sharia law of the land now, too?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hypocrites,
Yeah. So, Father... Okay, cat. Where are you? I know there's a cat in here because I heard something... Oh, well. Okay, never mind. Father Michael Whelan, a parish priest at St. Patrick's Church in Sydney. Well, I wonder how many St. Patrick's churches there are in the world. There must be a
million.
Quoted in local news in June saying that he, along with other priests, would be willing to go to jail rather than break the seal of confession. Okay.
All right. Goodbye then.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Sounds reasonable. Yeah.
You want to cover crime up? Go ahead.
Yep.
Yeah. So, too bad. We've covered that one. English and Welsh bishops call for independent review into abuse prevention. That's a good thing. That's actually a good thing. A little late. Mm-hmm. Like decades late. Why now? Why 2018? Why?
And when have they ever practiced abuse prevention? It seems like shuffling priests around is the opposite.
Well, that's hiding it. Prevention would be like not being allowed to be alone with children in your care. Something simple like that. But there is none. There is I haven't read it yet. It is a document. Let me see if I can find it here. Is this it? Yeah, Protecting Minors from Sexual Abuse. This is a Canadian Conference of Catholic Bishops. I haven't had a chance to read it. I just saw it not long before we went to air, and I'll have something more to say about it when I've gone through the document. But this is...
How long is it? 184 pages?
It's big. It's big. It's large print, but it's still big enough to... I didn't have a chance. So we'll see what happens with that. The one last thing on the Catholic Watch. Do you speak to your guardian angel? Asks Pope Francis. I think I commented on this. I said, do you talk to yourself and pretend it's a fictitious, non-corporeal being? I talk to myself a lot. It's how I work through problems. And it's something I did growing up because I had nobody else to talk with them and figure out a solution to things that I was pondering. And so I got in the habit. And even
when I was a kid, I learned to read, right? And I was reading out loud all the time, and it drove my parents crazy. Do it in your head.
Yeah, small voice. Yeah, I would. Yeah. I still do it, but I often do it silently. But my hands are gesturing like crazy. So Rhonda sees me, and she just starts laughing because she knows I'm working through something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just Catholicism is really fucked up. I mean, if you look at the beliefs, they believe in demons and the devil, and I've got a couple of books by on exorcism, and they are just Looney Tunes, just Looney Tunes. And there's no critical thinking at all in any of this. There's no evidence. This is the evidence for demon possession and stuff. There's none of that. They assume it. And then they say, well, we should go to a psychiatrist first in all cases. And in the very next paragraph says, well, sometimes it's so obvious we do. It's like, which is it? And where are you finding psychiatrists who actually think that they could possibly be possessed? I don't know.
Well, in church.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's insane.
Wow. Yeah.
I really recommend reading one of these books by, I think, Barth or something like that. Anyway, anybody wants to call in, you can call in. Oh yeah, that's going to be hidden. Let's go back to the Skype here. You can call the toll-free number if you want. I hope this is working. 1-587-288-1067. If you want to talk about anything you heard on some of the stories or something else that you want to have your say on, and we're going to go on to. I think we're going to go on to here.
Paul Ogia has joined us.
Okay, Paul Ogia has joined us. Hi, Paul.
He said, it's a Beautiful People podcast. Well, thank you.
You're just a blue screen.
Oh, go on.
That like the Marilyn Manson song, Beautiful People?
Okay. All right, we're going to go on to the Regressive Left Files.
The Regressive Left Files.
Oh yeah, there actually is a cat here. Hello. But she's not going to come over here.
Which one?
It's the Singapura. She's called Dee Dee. That's the smallest breed of cat.
Aww.
She's like 4 pounds, and she's an adult. She's very small.
Oh.
She's just sitting there. Just
hold her up and give her a kiss, and we'll see her on camera.
I would. I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Your face is only showing so. And then the screen, the numbers running through it, so you got to hold her up about nose level. You know, see her.
Hi, Dee Dee. She's cute. She's a very sweet cat.
Oh, I bet.
There you go.
Aw, what a cutie.
Yeah, she is. She's sweet. She sometimes sleeps under the covers, and not lately, but she's looking for warmth. I don't think it's so much as love as heat.
My cat does that too, and she's got tons of fur, or he's got tons of fur. Yeah, he just burrows under my blanket in my bed.
Yeah, they kind of like to do that.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
They're desert animals at first, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Anyway, so in the Regressive Left Files, I guess the first thing that I want to talk about, I guess, is University of Manchester Students' Union. They ban clapping for their events. And
what was their reasoning behind that? Was there people with issues with sensitivity to sound?
Yeah. How many people like that do you know? Really?
You would have to get it under control in order, I think, to
go outside?
Attend at all.
Yeah, you'd have to come up with your own coping mechanisms, right? Because I'm sure every once in a while, the sound of a vacuum will just annoy the fuck out of me for no good reason, hey?
So carry earplugs around, or...
Well, I mean, it doesn't always irritate me, but when it does, it really irritates me for some good reason.
Yeah, but you're just getting annoyed. That's who, I'm sorry, but yeah, you know what? Oh well.
Yeah,
you don't like vacuum cleaners.
So
and there's noise canceling headphones and earplugs that some are better than others, and I walk around with a mask because I can't ban perfume, so I have had to make my own concessions. So
So union officer Sarah Kahn said traditional clapping can cause issues for students with autism. How many students at the university have autism?
And issues they have a few, because they tend to be gifted if they're on the they do tend to be gifted in a particular area or whatever, right?
Not
well, then
always.
They should have those coping mechanisms with their. Like, even just having these headphones cancels a lot of noise outside of...
Well, how do you deal with life if you can't see clapping? How do you
go on a
bus,
go outside, hear a siren like a fire truck. I would be carrying around stuff already.
And what about deaf people?
Yeah.
What about
and I would avoid
blind people?
That, might trigger me, so to speak, right?
Yeah. I avoid buses and elevators.
Oh, elevators. Huh.
Elevators are terrible.
Oh, for smell?
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
if
guess
somebody
so,
just comes in from a smoke, sprayed themselves with perfume, I'm gonna, like, die.
Yeah, yeah.
So I take a lot of stairs.
Huh.
Oh, let's play this. It's oh, it's going to give me an ad. You know what? I don't have to do that. I can go over to here. I'm just going to bring up the VLC player here. I already have I had one queued up, but of course I had the issues with the computer.
Yeah, every time Windows upgrades on me, something is fucked up.
Yeah.
It might take me a couple of days to find it, but inevitably, it's going to screw something up.
All right.
Changes a shortcut, delete something.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to play this now. I think it's playing. Let's see, is it playing? No, of course not. It's not playing. All right, let's go. Here we go. There's no sound. Oh, come on. Anyway, you can read the subtitles. So basically, jazz hands. People have more informally called it jazz hands, but that is the official British sign language of clapping. Hearing difficulties, but doesn't see an issue with clapping. Well, of course not. No reasonable person does have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. There was a couple of people had responded to this on Twitter, and all right, let's bring back up page. Piers Morgan just said that Britain's losing its mind. I kind of concur with that. University culture is certainly losing its mind, and I lost the webpage. Where is it? Okay, there we go. Jeremy Vine says, clapping is banned at University of Manchester Student Union events to avoid triggering anxiety and improve accessibility. Students will instead use silent jazz hands. Glad some brave young souls decided to ignore the difficulties caused by sudden noises 100 years ago. And there's a picture of World War I British soldiers in the trenches.
Wow.
Like...
Yeah, good comparison. Holy.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's just a...
Like how does... they revere their vets in the U.S., right? And, I mean, that's, I think, pretty insulting.
Yes,
I get where PTSD is on a spectrum or whatever kind of thing, but, I mean, to compare, I don't know, a Twitter-invoked PTSD with
oh, who could you be referring to?
Holy.
Who could you be referring to? I wonder.
But there have been other people that have made that same claim, and I can understand. Like if you're what did I hear about the other day? There were people who were essentially in charge of getting rid of bad things off of YouTube and that kind of thing, and apparently the stuff they have to watch every day is just fucking traumatic, right? So I get it. Imagine if you have to watch hours of little kids being raped and this kind of shit, right? Yeah, I can see it. I can totally see it, but to compare it to vets, it's just it's oranges to apples, and in terms of severity. Yeah.
It just boggles the mind. This manufacturing of problems, virtue signaling. This is what I consider to be totally virtue signaling. Virtue signaling, the way I define it, is that it is acting on behalf of a demographic that you don't belong to and never asked you to stand up for them, and often don't want you to.
Sometimes people are within that group,
Yeah, but they don't want you to stand up for them because they don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
My God.
And I don't know. Like, I'm sorry, I find jazz hands kind of racist. Even the fact of calling them jazz hands alludes to a particular point in time that was not nice to, my goodness, what the fuck? I think if I went to, if I didn't know about this crap already and I went to some kind of thing and suddenly people started doing jazz hands, I'd be scared. I'd be initially a little bit afraid, Just like when my daughter was in elementary school, when they had an assembly, what they would do is they would hold their hands up, right? But it looked like a goddamn Hitler salute to me, right?
Oh, no.
I didn't know. Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, okay, that means be quiet. And I'm, like I did, I talked to them, can we please, like, not use that particular gesture?
Or do something else.
Yeah, they kind of bent their elbows instead, but oh my goodness, and I'm like, I looked around me and there was like a ton of white people and they're all doing this fucking Hitler salute. I'm just like, oh my god, I gotta get my kid out of the school. It freaked me out. It really did, Just for like that microsecond where you think, what the hell, And I think if I were to attend an event where jazz hands were, like I said, if I didn't know about it already and what this meant, I'd be
creepy.
Scared shitless, frankly.
Wouldn't that be creepy where everybody's...
It totally would. I mean, like, what are these racist people waving their hands around like this? Really, I would.
They should be in blackface with the white lips and...
Exactly. That's exactly, especially when you call it jazz hands, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the implication is very clear. And I find it's racist.
Okay, I think you might be reading more into it than is there, but...
Maybe, but, I mean, really... Like,
I just think it's stupid. I
think it's stupid too, but
it would just be weird.
Why that particular gesture?
All of a sudden, at the end of something, the audience shows its appreciation via silence.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
There is an opera. Oh God, Parsifal. It's a Wagner opera. You do not clap at the end of the first act. And but that is by convention only.
Yeah,
I have no idea where it comes from, but that is the tradition. When Parsifal is played, do not clap at the end of the first act. I have no idea where it comes from, but
just like when I don't know who's the band that comes here, you're supposed to throw your bras on stage, right? There's culture of codes.
Yeah, exactly. Well. Your hands are busy when you're doing that, right?
Yeah. But you're screaming or something, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Anyway.
Yeah. And to the credit, I can't remember which band it is, but they actually donate those bras, so that's pretty cool. Nevertheless, it's like this, saying, right?
What do you mean donate? Ew.
Well,
are you gonna take your bra off and throw it, or are you gonna bring one to throw?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, if it's going to charity, you might just bring one to throw, right? Whereas, I think the convention is
comfortable.
Well, I don't know. I've never done it myself, but I've seen it. I can't remember even which concert it was, but some metal band or whatever, right? And
of course.
Yeah. But they donate it to the women's shelter and stuff like that. Give them a wash and they're fine. It's not like underwear,
Yeah.
Technically it is. But anyway.
But part of the body is just different.
No fluid comes out of those areas unless
careful, yeah. Unless you're lactating or,
super sweaty, but...
Yeah, a good wash and they're fine.
If you say so.
Well, when I had to get sports bras, and bloody hell if I was going to go and pay $80 bloody for them, so I just went to, I don't know what, bargain, what do you call that place?
Village?
Yeah.
For
so I just bought them there, because I knew I was never going to use them again, right? So, yeah. Bras are fine. Underwear, no.
That's a little different. Unless they can prove it's absolutely never been worn.
Well, yeah, if you have tags on it or whatever, right? Yeah.
All right.
So what were we talking about?
Yeah.
Jazz hands.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, jazz hands.
I had dinner with my family and they're warped, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah, jazz hands, it's weird.
Yeah. Okay, glad we figured that out.
3 years ago anyway, wasn't it? I thought this kind of died.
It keeps,
pops up.
It keeps coming up like mushrooms.
Well, there was also snapping your fingers too, right?
My daughter, yeah. They did that somewhere.
Yeah, which is kind of more, I've heard of that.
More sense.
Well, it's not so loud, and it's, I don't know. Well,
it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the latest hoax. Yeah, the other story. The latest work by Peter Boghossian, Helen Pluckrose, and James Lindsay, who was a previous guest on the podcast. And they put out 20 papers to various journals in grievance studies, and to the point of, these things were written to the point of absurdity. They conformed to the dogma that is accepted, as orthodoxy by these departments. And I mean, one was, they talked about basically they started from the concept of training men as we train dogs, and so they talked about dogs in dog walking parks, in terms of rape culture in dogs. And so they were, it was totally absurd. Let me see if I can get the dog here. Oh darn it! Where is this? F.
I went more into the conceptual penis paper.
That was the first one. That was the starter for this. So, what if we write a paper saying we should train men like we do dogs to prevent rape culture? Hence came the dog park paper. And it was. I'm going to play a little bit from the a video that was put out by. Oh, stupid thing. Let's play this video. Probably not going to get any sound out of this, aren't I? Oh, I might not get sound out of this. Yeah, shoot. All the audio settings are screwed on this thing. Okay, fine. Anyway, let's go back to that. They were talking about rape culture in dogs, and they were checking out dogs' genitals. For some reason, and one of the reviewers was concerned about the privacy of the dogs when having its genitals checked out. And
yep, not touched. Not
only were they.
Just looked at.
They were. Well, yeah. I mean, like the reviewers.
I think, anyway.
Were totally on board with the paper, as ridiculous as it was. And this was in Hypatia. This is one of the supposedly one of the primo journals in grievance studies.
It's a philosophy journal.
Feminist philosophy journal.
Yeah.
And not only did they accept it, but we should have, made sure that the dogs' privacy was protected. But they're looking at the damn genitals. What privacy?
Well, was it paid?
No, it's not a predatory journal.
No,
was it
not.
paid to publish?
Not at all. These are peer-reviewed journals.
Hypatia is pretty well known, very well known actually. It's like one of the leading feminist philosophy journals there. And was there not one paper where you're that's an exemplary study, and would you like to be on our basically peer review committee, right?
So what?
I can't remember which one it was, but holy.
Yeah, the whole thing was about exposing that all you need to do to get a paper published in these journals is to use the right words and conform to orthodoxy. There's no scholarship in this. It's not scholarly at all. 7 out of 20 papers so far, because there were still some that were in the peer review system, but 7 out of 20 were accepted.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, that's a really high rate of publication.
That's
right?
It's incredible. And these are not only they're not experts, they're making stuff up.
Well, and didn't they took like part of Mein Kampf and just plugged in language or whatever. And what was the other one? There was another one. I can't remember what it was now.
I can't remember either.
But yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So did they do citations in these too from like a citation generator?
Oh, they don't need no stinking citations.
You do.
Most journal articles in these fields do not get a single citation.
Oh, no, but they cite other people.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't actually. I'd love to look at these.
Well, the other papers, like the conceptual penis, they used a citation generator. That was...
maybe they did that here, too.
Yeah. So what that does is some references cite postmodern generator, a website coded in the 90s by Andrew Bullock, featuring an algorithm based on NYU physicist Alan Sokol's method of hoaxing cultural studies journal called Social Text that returns a different fake postmodern paper every time the page is reloaded. So at that time they cited and quoted from the postmodern generator liberally. 5 nonsense quotations incorporated in the body of the paper, and 5 different papers generated in the course of a few minutes. As most published papers include some kind of citation, and usually more than 5.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be hard to do because now we've got, I don't know how many generations building upon each other's work, so to speak, right?
Yeah, and since this stuff isn't data-driven, it's just...
Well, it's theoretical, like philosophical, theoretical kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So how do you know it's legit, especially... Well, the people within the publishing industry should know, but when it's us looking these things up, someone like me that's a layperson, I'm never going to be able to tell garbage from better philosophy, and it's quite frankly frustrating.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of trained in this area. I've had this kind of training to understand these materials, but some of it is pretty, it sounds really impressive, but it's really not saying much,
Yeah, just like what these guys did, throw a bunch of fancy words together, make up a salad, and throw it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, the fact that they could, snow peer review, get through the peer review system says a lot about the robustness of this scholarship, right?
Yeah. It's sad, but it needs to stop, and that's why they're doing this.
Yeah, and like triangulation, right? If you are conducting a study, you're not supposed to just take one theoretical perspective. You're supposed to balance out 3, right? Like I've said before, you can't look through the world through just one lens, or you're going to get a very warped view of it, right? So you have to be able to address the criticisms that come to bear on these theories that you're using, right? So even if that's your pet theory, you should still be able to argue against it. You should understand the arguments against it, not dismiss them without respect, because
Yeah, these departments are what I call ideology incubators. That's what they've become. They've become that, and they're very homogeneous, which is already bad, and they're out in left field. Where
that's not necessarily true, because, for example, in communication studies, there's things like study of technology and how technology intersects society and that kind of thing, and those are really interesting and valuable courses, and even that kind of thing, right? So there is robust stuff going on there, but unfortunately, it's a bullshit that kind of makes the headlines, right? Yeah. And like Gad said, like I've said about him before, he's essentially doing marketing, which is also part of communications, and combining it with evolutionary theory. So he's doing communication studies as well. It's just that he's doing it in like marketing is a lot more applied as opposed to theoretical. So it makes sense, but it also theoretically makes sense, because you're appealing to evolutionary biology, and that's a robust theory. And, you know, you explain, rather than explaining it in terms of, I don't know, feminism or whatever the hell you want to, you know, invoke, you're going to get a much different perspective on the same phenomenon, right? So that's what they mean by triangulation, because if you're just looking at the world through one lens, yeah, you're going to get a warped view of it, you know?
Yeah. It's, I don't know, there's some obvious real problems here. There's a real need for things like gender studies, but
yeah, absolutely.
we don't need this crap. I mean, this is not doing any good, and it's being taught as factual to impressionable students.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not fact.
Because, like, when I took that kind of stuff, it was much more balanced, right? You know, not only did we learn the theory, but we would learn the criticisms against those theories and learn alternative theories and that kind of thing, right? Which is how you should do it. There's nothing wrong with teaching those theories, but people have to understand that they're theories.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in that, you know what I mean? Like,
do you mean hypotheses?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you say feminist theory, but essentially we're dealing with a philosophical concept, right? And not an empirical one. So theory, I don't mean to use it like, evolution is just a theory.
Or gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd call it a framework.
Yeah, better described as hypotheses, but, you know.
Yeah. So there was a bunch of news items on this. It's got a lot of traction. For instance, here's the Atlantic. What an audacious hoax it reveals about academia. That was one. Let's see. This is from the Chronicle of Higher Education, Sokol Squared, which is this latest. Oh, get out of here, you stupid thing. It's the name that they gave to this latest attempt at getting people to actually see what's going on. Is huge publishing hoax hilarious and delightful, or an ugly example of dishonesty and bad faith? Yeah,
neither.
Well, it is hilarious and delightful, but it's also trying to show something. I mean, they got a lot of laughs out of it, but that wasn't why they did it. You know? Yeah,
they were trying to show an issue that needs to be addressed.
It was a study. It was a well-conducted study, frankly.
It was a probe. They called it a probe. And and it was well executed. Here's from The Economist. Another set of fake papers takes aim at social sciences nether regions. I like that one. That was the dog referral, of course, to dog parks are petri dishes for canine rape culture. How can anybody take this seriously? I mean, I understand that universities are places where outrageous ideas are to be, examined, but not this ridiculous. Okay, you know what I mean? Like this is
it needs to be academic
rigor.
This is taking it to an extreme with no scholarship whatsoever, and it's supposed to be out to examine outrageous ideas. Yes, but to do it in a scholarly fashion. That's the missing part. That's what's missing in this whole thing. I'm out of focus. Oh, great. Come on. Get back into focus. Weird. Oh, well, I'm out of focus. I might be out of focus for the rest of the evening. Great.
Oh, David Ince has joined us.
And, this is actually a really well-executed study or probe into what's going on in those areas of the humanities that with I think it's a great name, grievance studies, because it's a little more focused on certain areas that are more about the subjective than they are about the objective.
Well, that was the term they coined themselves, basically, right?
What's that?
Grievance
studies? Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's a good, it's a perfectly good word for it.
And that's not all of you know, all of it, well, like you said, we still do need, you know, things like gender studies and, I don't know, what do you call it, I want to say race studies or whatever kind of thing, you know, like studies that, you know, point out those different things in our culture and try to make us better people, right? But when it gets wingnutty like that, what do
where's
you do?
The scholarship?
You know?
Where's the scholarship in this? I don't care if the idea is outlandish. That's what universities are for. It has to be scholarly and not accepting this. This is the thing. The reviewers just accepted it without question. That's the problem. The reviewers are there. They're supposed to be the ones doing the questioning. That's their job.
The gatekeeping. To make sure absolute nonsense isn't published.
And well, that's the problem these days. It has, you know, so much of this is now so ideologically driven, and only from a particular perspective, and that's just the biggest problem. It's not taken a look at.
So what they're showing is a bias too, and that's really not the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, and Randy, I think you said it best when you said that critical theory isn't the same as critical studies, or critical thinking, right?
Well, if you want to quote me exactly.
My supervisor, who's no longer with us, I said that to him, and he was like, yeah, I totally agree. You know?
Yeah, to quote me exactly, the problem with critical theories is that they're lacking in critical thinking.
Well, yeah, because you should be able to reflect on your own theories and criticize those as well.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And
that's what peer review is supposed to bring about, is the questioning and the challenging. That's what peer review is.
I mean, it is.
But how do you peer review nonsense?
You reject
Well, I think there's, you know, a language that you can use that kind of, I don't know, they talk about dog whistling and that kind of thing. Like, there's language within the social sciences that, I don't want to call it dog whistling, but it's like we understand these terms and they make sense to a small group of people, right?
Yeah, and then that's where the biases get introduced by using those words that people see, and then
but
they're
it's
like,
already
okay, that seems it's
to
good.
begin with, because the point of critical theory is to criticize systems, right? So you've already introduced a bias in there because that is, you know, what your mandate is to criticize, right? As opposed to look at, you know, say like evolutionary biology, right? Same.
No, like in racism, that dog whistling is certain signs and certain words, like true Canadian, true American. They're talking about white people. So when a racist reads these things, they're biased towards it because they see those dog whistles. I feel like that's what's happening in this field, is if you use certain words and they see those words, but the rest doesn't make sense, it's okay, because they're seeing those words and they have a bias towards them.
So what's the difference then between dog whistling and virtue signaling?
Same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah,
has the same effect. Very
exactly.
little.
Yeah.
So they gotta look beyond the words,
well,
and try to make sense of it. Like, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Does the paper have some sort of point to it that isn't absolutely ridiculous? Like, these guys have let everyone know, it sounds ridiculous because it is.
Well, you know, there's a lot of nonsense that are published in these journals. I remember a paper that, if you don't follow this on Twitter, you should. It's the New Real Peer Review. And they are actually in these fields, and they're anonymous, but they made it their mission to point out papers like this. And actually, it was because of New Real Peer Review, and they noticed the dog park paper, and they put it out there that kind of blew the whistle on the whole Social Squared thing, and so that they came out a little early. But you know, this isn't fraud, because their intent all along was to come out and say, look, we wrote this crap. But you guys accepted it. You guys accepted it, and so it's totally legit. And I know that what's his name, Sean Carroll, was a little upset by this, and he's saying, couldn't you find another way of doing that? And I'm thinking, Well, Sean, first of all, you know, I'd be okay to hear any other alternative that you might pose, but what could possibly be better than a demonstration?
Yeah, and an academic demonstration at that.
Far more powerful. Yeah, you may not
one
like
thing
it.
for the news media to criticize stuff, and quite another for 3 academics, respected academics, to pair, I'm sorry, not pair if there's 3, but, to get together and conduct this, what did you call it, a probe?
Yeah, I call it a probe. Yeah.
It's a study.
Yeah, it's a study.
It's I don't know, preliminary study maybe, but, it's grounded in empirical evidence and behavior and, what people are willing to accept as plausible claims, including academics, right?
Yeah.
If it actually causes a change and things to improve, then...
It won't. Unfortunately,
I don't.
No, it won't. It's just going to piss people off. Yeah.
Yeah, but...
Well, no, because more people will see what's going on here, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that it won't convince people that are within the box. It's people that are outside the box that'll finally, oh, hey, there's a box here. And they'll look in the box, and they will not like what they see, and rightfully so. Yeah. And this is the crud that is being passed on to a new generation of students, and that maybe something from the outside can be done. It's not going to come from within because it's already so homogeneous. So it's a cult. It's a dogmatic cult, and they are so invested in this that they will never see. They'll never. Oh yeah, hey, you're right. We've been publishing a lot of crap. It's never gonna happen. There's too much investment in it.
Well, I think it will, because this next generation that's going to take these courses is. I think of my daughter, and she's like, she's skeptical, right?
Good, but she's your daughter.
That's true, but I also see some of her. I'm sure she's cultivated friends that are kind of on the same page. In fact, I know she has, right? Like she'll hang out with new agey people, and she'll come home and say to me, like, "Oh my God, they were talking about horoscopes, and I just couldn't do it anymore," right? As long as they're, I don't know, normal. And they went to a festival recently, and there was, I don't know, a group there that were just saying ridiculous shit, and one of Kara's friends was like kind of nodding his head and smiling, and then he gets back to the group, and they said to him, "You don't believe that, do you?" And he's like, "No, I just want to cross away." So there's hope, right? And
that is what I love about you, Christine. You're just so hopeful.
Oh, I know.
And you're going to owe me another
glasses. It's disgusting.
And because of that hope, you will always be owing me a bottle of Johnny Walker.
Yeah, I know. God damn it. What, another one?
Well, we did have...
I have hope in my ability not to play stupid bets.
We had another one, and I can't remember now. Maybe somebody can go back. That we had another bet, and I can't remember it now. I don't remember. I know we did one, and I don't remember. Oh, well.
Yeah.
So
I declined. I think I would have been wise to decline. I kind of learned my lesson.
So seven papers.
We're not all cynics.
Yeah. Well, I'm both a cynic and a skeptic. The two can coexist, apparently. It's called cognitive dissonance, but anyway. It's my version of cognitive dissonance. But there were 7 papers accepted, and 7 were still in review. So only 6 papers were outright told no.
Rejected.
That's an incredibly good
no shit.
success rate.
Yeah, and some are like in process of, being turned back to be edited and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
in revision.
Comments kind of thing?
In the revision.
Yeah.
I want to see the comments.
One of those comments, like I said, was the respecting the privacy of the dog when checking out its genitals. Like, what? How? Isn't that kind of like the very definition of non-private? Whatever. I was just about...
I'm going to excuse myself for a moment.
Okay, there was just one thing I wanted to say, and I'm trying to remember what it was, but I can't remember what it was. They published on average 2 papers a month for 10 months. That is an immense amount of writing, and they had to go into the literature.
I want to be published that much.
Well, you can, obviously. You do not need to be an expert in these fields. You just have to go learn the lingo and... pick out the words that'll catch their attention. Yeah. I understand people are upset about this hoax. I don't like calling it a hoax. It's not a hoax.
Yeah, I don't think it's a hoax.
A hoax is something that you do not intend, well, generally speaking, you don't intend for it to be discovered. They all along had intended to say, yeah, we wrote these, and it's crap. Yeah. And that was the whole point. But anyway, I'd like to wait until Christine gets back for the very last piece, because Stephan. Wow, she'll I'm sure she'll have a lot to say on that. And his trial's coming up in May, I believe. Coming up next May, something like that. And in the meantime, he's out on bail. Oh no, he's free because he's not on bail. But I'm going to bring up the paper here. There we go. That smiling, smug face.
Yeah.
And we'll just wait. Come on, Christine. I don't want to start this one without you. But, yeah. Okay, last year, you'll remember David Stephan was convicted of failing to provide the necessaries of life for his infant son Ezekiel, who died of was it bacterial meningitis? I can't remember.
The kind that you can vaccinate for. So. So I believe so.
Okay, and that conviction was overturned, and a retrial was ordered, and he is up for the new trial in 2019. I assume that includes his wife as well, because she was convicted along with him.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, he is taking it upon himself to be the bastion of balanced reporting, because, as he claims during the last trial, those who were journalists who were reporting on it treated him unfairly, and he said they made stuff up. And
really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like what?
Yeah, well, like the concoction. He said they didn't use that onion concoction that they originally gave Ezekiel.
Then what did they give him?
Oh, you have to ask him. He's the balanced reporter. So, but
they went and got stuff from various people, and then did they not use it?
Yeah.
So that means they left him even more untreated than anyone thought.
Well, I mean, it was whether or not they gave him some concoction from a naturopath doesn't matter, because
and it's rather irrelevant.
Don't have treatments that'll do anything. Yeah.
They didn't take a sick child anywhere for care that would have actually been able to help him before he became stiff, and then stopped breathing before they even called the ambulance. He was stiff for a while. He was not eating for a while. He was sick for a long time. So it really doesn't matter after he stops breathing that they can say that they're completely free of any sort of responsibility to their child.
Yeah, they didn't seek proper medical help.
And they blamed everybody.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm so sickened by that guy. He just will not...
I knew she'd have something to say.
Acknowledge his role. He won't acknowledge his role.
It's
no, of course
so
not.
disgusting.
And here's
unrepentant.
Here's that smug picture of him in the Calgary Herald. He's...
Yeah, like I said, I'd love to go and counter-protest him, but I'd probably want to just smack that fucking arrogant self-righteous smile off his goddamn face, you know? And I'm not a violent person, but I can't stand it.
No, not at all. No.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just observing him this amount of time and his attempts to justify his actions. It's almost like he has something wrong with him. I think
so. Yeah, because how
I can't
can you
say what. But how can your child die and you find every excuse in the book besides your own actions?
Yeah.
Narcissistic personality disorder.
And now he's going to go on and do something to make it even worse, in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's attending the trial of Jennifer and Jeromie. I'm getting tongue-tied. Jennifer and Jeromie Clark, and they are charged with criminal negligence and failing to provide the necessaries of life for their 14-month-old son, John. And John died in 2013 of a staph infection and malnutrition. Okay.
And he had gangrenous toes, infected rash, blistering 70% of his body, and he was in septic shock.
Which takes time to get to that stage, right?
Gangrenous, that means dead tissue.
Dead and rotting tissue, and causing blood poisoning.
Visibly, so.
Yeah, it's, well, and smell. I mean, gangrene is a very distinctive smell.
Staph infection is staphylococcus. It covers your body. When it infects you, it's basically because there's something wrong. When it can take over your body, it's an opportunistic parasite. So the child must have been in some kind of issue. Like there must have been a sore or a cut or something that the parasite was opportunistically infecting, and then they let it go to that point of suffering. Well, until he died. Gangrenous. How the fact that that's SOB, Stephan, can even attempt to defend this.
Yeah, well, he says this, I'll be playing the role of the anti-media, in the sense that if the media is going to be irresponsible again and going to continue on with the lies that they did with our case, he said in a video posted Sunday that racked up some 3,000 views, I'll be asking some pointed questions. I'll be interviewing the media on this, the reporters.
Oh, shut up.
When they get out of line, I'll be asking about how they came to the various conclusions that they did in the same courtroom that I spent time in.
Doctors' reports, doctors are just liars, because I'm the smartest man in the world, and I know this.
Yeah, well, like I said...
and parental rights is, the card that they're whipping out, which is...
Children are not cars.
So the kid died because...
negligence.
In his mind, why did these kids die? If these parents did no wrong, why did he die?
Well, it's God's will, I presume. Because they've got that religious nuttery shit happening too, don't they? That True Hope or whatever it is, that that's bullshit
that's
white site. Yeah. But it's intersected with Christianity, and you intersect Christianity woo nonsense with religion, and you got a powerful load of bullshit.
Kids here in this case now.
Yeah. Like I'm thinking about those cases of the two kids that died of cancer because they refused chemo, and they were treated by that stupid American organization that did fuck all. Fed them
fuck all that wouldn't work.
Like yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They would not have died. If they went to
here's the kicker. In a video posted Monday outside the Calgary Court Centre, Stephan highlighted the similarities between his case and that of the Clarks, and warned that they will be attacked for their choices of medical care, diet, and religion. Yeah!
No shit!
See, the kid had dead tissue.
Yeah.
Jeez.
You think?
That's exactly why. We have laws against not taking care of children. They're not property. You are their custodians. They are the custodians of future citizens.
Yeah.
You
don't own them. There's no, I get there's parental rights to an extent, but
no,
oh my God.
parents are granted.
There's decisions that can be made in your child's best interest, and there's a multitude of those. So yes, you have parental rights, but there's also a bunch of really bad decisions. And I'm sorry if you make those bad decisions, then you need to be. That's not. Then the children's rights must supersede the parents' rights.
And you've got to be punished for your neglect. I'm sorry, but your kid died because of what you did.
Yeah, and what if we don't punish that sort of thing? Then what happens, right? People get off scot-free for child abuse,
killing,
essentially. Yeah,
and that's
murder.
Exactly. Exactly what that is.
He said in the video, and this is a quote, probably the biggest issue, and this is what we saw in our own case, was natural remedies versus allopathic medicine, and that was highlighted about their belief in natural remedies. The precedent is going to be further established that it doesn't matter whether or not you love your children, it's whether or not you treat them the way they deem is necessary and fit. Yes!
Yeah.
Yes!
Exactly. What's the difference between...
Big clue here! Kids died! Obviously it didn't work!
That's why we don't allow prayer as a substitute for medical care. We don't allow homeopathy as a substitute for proper medical care.
And we don't allow faith healing either. It's the same bloody thing.
We don't allow blood or the withholding of blood transfusions because of a religious belief. Yeah. Except in the case in First Nations, but such a terrible decision, which resulted in the deaths of 2 people.
If the kid dies, what you did didn't work. So maybe you should look at that just a little bit.
Yeah, really.
Hello?
Oh my God.
There's a standard
if I
of
did
care
that to my child, I cannot imagine.
Yeah, I
can't. Yeah.
Knowing the kid would have not died had I not let her get to the point where she had gangrene.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but as a parent, if you can't recognize gangrene, maybe you're just not qualified to treat it.
You're not qualified to be a parent.
Just maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, they live in what? Stephan is staying with his family in Calgary, living in a 30-year-old motorhome. Why is this even relevant?
Poor guy. The poor guy. He's such a big...
I guess the legal costs.
That's kill your child.
$1 million.
Live your life.
He says the legal costs have been $1 million to this point.
On our tax dollar? Or his... Well, anyway. You know what? If it prevents other parents from being so fucking stupid, and it does send that message out there, you got to treat your kids, medically if they're really sick, I'm okay with spending that $1 million. It's a pretty small drop in the bucket.
No kidding, yeah.
Given how many lives it could potentially save,
Especially, get the kid help before they stop breathing. Get the kid help before the tissue dies.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with you if you can watch your child suffer like that and think it's okay.
Yeah.
Something wrong with your head.
Well, it's like that
you wouldn't even let a pet suffer
Michigan.
that way, Even though pets can't talk, you can still, figure out when they're feeling shitty, and you take them to the bloody vet, don't you,
You would hope.
Yeah.
People would probably just, put some honey on it and say, call it good.
Well, that couple in Michigan, they were shocked. That couple in Michigan, they were shocked when they found out that they were being charged with something that could potentially land them for the rest of their lives in prison. Because,
Gee, because maybe that'll stop them from killing another kid.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Unless they write something and people listen to them and kill their kids too, because, those poor people in jail, we should listen to them.
Yeah.
Well, like Kara had anaphylactic shock, I guess. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, right?
Yeah.
And, she was, So I said to her, going down a couple of Benadryls and see if it starts relieving, right? And it didn't. And, I said, give it, 5-10 minutes. And she just kept getting worse. And I just threw her in my car, like she's an adult at this point, right? Threw her in my car so fast, sped to the goddamn hospital like a bat out of hell. And, they took her in straight away, okay? Yeah.
Thank
But,
you.
well, yeah, you know, like,
That's
yeah,
what,
I thought, okay,
that's what an actual caring parent does.
Yeah, no kidding, yeah. And even if I'd been...
Non-delusional. Like, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, but you guys have just proven that you cannot take care of children.
Yeah. Even if I'd been caught speeding, I just would have carried on and driven right up to the emergency and would have had an escort. And if they wanted to ticket me, I don't give a rat's ass. But
most of the time
I was
they'll help.
stop for anything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time they'll just police escort you. But however, if I killed a dog by starving him by accident, I would hope that nobody would let me have a dog again. I mean, that just makes sense. Maybe you shouldn't be taking care of children if they're going to die in your care.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow.
And just a lack of remorse is...
Oh, total lack.
That's the first part. And then making this about him. That is psycho.
Yeah.
Making this about him too. Oh, it's just like my case. Really? No.
I'm so glad he didn't get to speak at that bloody expo because the Grey Eagle Casino nixed it. Remember the health and wellness expo he was supposed to speak at?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
I'm trying to see if I can get that audio working on this again, but it's not looking like I can. Okay, that was it. That's all I had for.
My eye.
That's all I had for this evening. Anybody got anything else?
I want to bitch about the weather a little bit, but you know that's one of my favorite things is to bitch about the weather and the traffic. So
it snowed today.
Yeah, it's snowing right now here, and we had a dump earlier this. Oh my God,
it was a week ago.
Horrible.
It was a week ago, and it was an absolute. We got
unreal.
Just snowmageddon, as some people called it.
Yeah,
we got
and there's
quite
still
a bit.
snow. I went through even just Olds and such. Well, yeah, in the south there's still quite a bit of snow on the ground just from that.
Yeah, same here, but it's kind of melting, but we're getting more, right?
Yeah.
And
just accumulate.
Like you said, Randy, thank you to Edmonton and what was it, Lethbridge?
Red Deer,
Okotoks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Okotoks didn't get hit. They're just like almost a suburb now.
Yeah. They're almost what?
They're almost a suburb of Calgary now.
Pretty much, yeah, and they're huge.
Yeah, it's got its own Costco even, so it's pretty large.
Yeah, no kidding. When I was a kid, it was like growing up, and it was just kind of the satellite town, and now it's like a little city, right? They've got everything there, and it's lovely there actually. Yeah, a
lot of people that work in Calgary, they live in Okotoks, so cheaper.
The same with Airdrie and stuff like that.
Airdrie's another
people
one,
can use them.
But the traffic is hell coming from Airdrie, but
yeah, it has been forever.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, I guess we'll be back in a couple of weeks, and
happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Happy turkey. Most people will have turkey at Thanksgiving.
All right. I guess I'll play the closing now.
Okay.
Say bye-bye.